Hey guys, CoreData here. Welcome back to the video. Today we're going to be talking a bit more about Elder Scrolls Legends, and this is going to be the second legendary crafting guide. This video is going to be focusing on blue or intelligence. I'm recording this after editing the video because I forgot that I had previously recorded this as part of the strength review as well. So if you guys want to know the criteria I use for ranking or like determining a card's playability, check out the last video. I'll probably put like a annotation or something in one of the corners. But yeah, without further ado, I'll just pass it over to past me. Blue. Our blue staples. A lot of people will probably know the blue staples by heart. They're all very powerful cards, see a lot of play. So, first off, we have Daggerfall Mage. Daggerfall Mage is the best 3-drop in the game. Always has been since closed beta. I remember a time like before Heroes of Skyrim came out. People were actually running Malefic Wreath in their decks just to counter Daggerfall Mage because it was just so omnipresent. One of those cards that everyone thought would eventually get nerfed, never did. Just turns out to be a very solid mid-range creature. Very good in control decks, very good in mid-range decks. If you're playing blue, you should be playing Daggerfall Mage more than likely. Next up, we have Dremora Adept. I don't want to talk about this card because I fucking hate Invade. This card is so pushed. It is a 3-mana 4/3. Which is overstated for blue. Blue should not have stats this good on any of its creatures, pretty much. And its effect is whenever it gains a keyword, you invade. So basically, the easiest way to think about it is whatever your gate's level is, double it. That's what it is. It's a 2-mana 5/4 that doubles your gate's level. That's what it does in Invade, and I fucking hate it. Nerf it, please. Delete it. Delete Invade. Do me a favor. God damn. Who knew I could rail on Invade in literally every video I ever make? Next up is Abner. Abner is a 6-mana 5/5 that just gives you an extra summon trigger. It just uses a summon trigger on the board. It's super flexible, super good in mid-range, super good in control. You can like get an extra Ancano trigger if your opponent has Aelid Guardians. Hey, guess what? You can get an Aelid Guardian too. It's just a very powerful card. If you're playing mid-range or control blue, Abner is always a good shout. Next up, we have the single impactful card from Moons of Elsewhere. That's right, it's Alfie Conjurer. So Alfie Conjurer is like the only impactful card realistically from Moons of Elsewhere. A 6-mana 3/3 guard that shits out an Atronach, or shits out a 7/5 ward if you had an Atronach in the bin. It is one of the strongest plays in turn 6 if you're playing anything mid-rangey, or even, I've seen it in control from time to time too. But yeah, mid-range Battle Mage, this card just makes the deck super ridiculously strong. If you want to play like mid-range Battle Mage or mid-range Sorcerer, or anything mid-range really, Tribunal, mid-range Tribunal also make great use of Alfie Conjurer. You should be crafting Alfie Conjurers. It's a lot of stats, a lot of value for one card, so you can't really go wrong. Next up we have Mighty Conjuring. Mighty Conjuring is a card I undervalued when I first saw it in Heroes of Skyrim. Didn't really come into its own until like Moons of Elsewhere, or like later on. When Giant's Battle Mage really took off, that's when Mighty Conjuring started seeing a lot of play. But yeah, 7-mana action creates a random Atronach, or if you have a creature with 5 power or more, it creates an 8/8 guard ward breakthrough. A Lava Atronach. It's really good in mid-range. Not really much to say about it. I run Mighty Conjuring in mid-range Battle Mage and mid-range Sorcerer actually. Sorcerer not really the typical home for this card, but you have a lot of 5-power creatures in like you've got what? Emmerich, you've got Bone Colossus, you've got the Bleakhost Trolls, Corrupted Shades. Anything that your Alfie shit out will trigger it. There's a lot of things that trigger Mighty Conjuring in Sorcerer as well as in Battle Mage. Mighty Conjuring also sees play in mid-range Tribunal and a couple of other tricolor mid-range decks. So yes, solid card, recommend picking it up. And last on the list for the staples is Ancano. To no one's surprise, Ancano is the best blue card ever created. Don't even at me on that because I am fucking 100% factually correct. It's an 8-mana 5/5 with breakthrough that deals 5 damage when it comes into play and gives your actions a breakthrough. The giving actions breakthrough normally doesn't really matter. It can do some really fun shenanigans with Ice Storm and the Red Ear. There is a video on my channel of me playing Seal of Secrets Guildsworn where I actually managed to Red Ear Ancano someone, which was it was really nice I got that on camera. But yeah, the 8 mana 5/5 deal 5 is just blue Tazcad. That's what he's been known as since Heroes of Skyrim's blue Tazcad. So one of the premier finishers for blue decks, for blue mid-range, blue control, and blue aggro. Literally anything blue runs Ancano. It's like one of the most omnipresent cards in the game. So if you want to create a deck, or if you want to craft a card, I 100% recommend Ancano, although you do get it out of one of those pre-constructed decks. So maybe look into that if you're looking to play anything blue. Next up is the good cards, and the first one we're going to talk about is Mentor's Ring. Mentor's Ring is a card that's its stock has gone up as time's gone on. It's not a card that goes into every deck. It's a very, very combo-focused card. It's the card that allows Dealer of Secrets to be a thing. It allows the Telvanni Conscription deck to kill you with a Flash Atronach out of nowhere. And it can just provide value very, very easily a lot of the time. Just by passing off like one keyboard, sometimes two, that's enough. If it just gives everything ward, hey, that's incredible. The 5 mana is like the biggest downside to it. It's a 5 mana item, which is never really great. But yeah, no, it carves out a solid niche for itself in a lot of decks. So if you're looking to play something more combo-y, or you want to play Telvanni Conscription, Mentor's Ring is a good shout. Next up, we've got Sothyrus. Sothyrus is a card that sees play in blue control. It is like the main win condition, or like the main late game option for blue control. You play it on 12, you exalt it, it starts shitting out 8/8 guards with breakthrough. Just very strong, very powerful, solid card, great in control tribunal, control Guildsworn, just control anything with blue, really. And last in the good cards is Forces of Destruction, another invade card. I hate it. Yeah, I have to be honest with these ratings. As much as I hate invade, I have to be honest that these cards are good in the invade decks. Force of Destruction normally is a one of or two of in invade Battle Mage and invade Guildsworn. It is a 10 mana action that you invade and then summon random Daedra equaling 10 mana. So either it fills your board or gives you like 1 or 2 creatures. It's just a good go-to finisher for invade decks. Not bad. I don't like invade, so I'm just fuck invade. Anyway, on to the Seas No Play. We got, in the Seas No Play category, we've got Enemore's Keeper, College of Winterhold, Thorana, Vastery, Glacial Dragon, Bringer of Nightmares, Genius Path Mage, and Supreme Atromancer. A lot of people are going to give out to me for like Glacial Dragon and shit like that. Dragons, a lot of Legendary Dragons are in the Seas No Play category just because dragons as a whole are not really a viable competitive deck at the high levels. The higher on ladder you go, the less likely you are to run into a dragon deck. Sometimes you see Dragon Guildsworn, it's like really rarely, but I wouldn't call it a meta or stable deck. That's why you see a lot of dragons in here. I don't think the dragon cards are bad. I just think there's better things to do. So yeah, first off is Enemore's Keeper. I do believe he's a 3 mana 4/3 or 4/2, right? Yeah, 3 mana 4/3. So yeah, it's got Dremora Adept stats. The big problem with this is the exalt cost was always way too high. So yeah, it's a 3 mana 4/3, exalt 4, equip a Heirloom Greatsword to it. So it becomes a 7 mana 9/3, which, as far as stat lines go, it dies to literally everything. You get the Heirloom Greatsword back to your hand, but then you're paying 6 mana to play the Greatsword. I don't know. It just was never really impactful. It's a card I'd never really tested properly. Like, maybe it's fine in certain decks. Maybe you'll play as like a 1 or 2 of. I just don't think it's worth it, personally. College of Winterhold's a 5 mana support. Each time you activate it, it's got 3 uses. Every time you activate it, you can find a higher mana spell. Goes from 1 to 3 and continues up the ladder. Kind of like a Altar Despair, but for actions. Season of Play used to be a staple in Support Control Mage back when that was a thing. Support Control no longer really exists, or it doesn't exist in any meaningful fashion or any meaningful sense. So College of Winterhold just doesn't see play. I still think it's a solid card. I still think it's fine. If you are planning to build Support Control College isn't as, like, I think it's pretty necessary. Things like Orb of Vermina and Goldbrand as well. Those are cards I wouldn't recommend you dust, just because they'll always find a home somewhere, I think. Thorana is a card that doesn't really see play. Very powerful, very unique effect. But you need to have a very specific deck to make use for a lot of the time. Sometimes if you're shuffling in, like, shit that doesn't really matter, she can, like, just dilute your draws, make it worse. But yeah, a lot of times when you do play her, you maybe shuffle in one action, she dies, that's about it. So yeah, she's just not as high impact as you want, but when she does go off, she goes off big. So if you want to build around Thorana, go ahead, be my guest. Vastery is just the worst Bone Colossus, and you can only run one copy. So I don't recommend Vastery. She's not bad, she's not a terrible card. You're never going to be worse. Ooh. 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 Jeez, I dropped everything. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, a deck will never be made that much worse for having a Vastery in it. It's a one-of. That's the other downside. Like, why not run Bone Colossus in a lot of cases? Because the decks you want Vastery are normally going to be running Endurance anyway, so you'll normally have access to Bone Colossus. So just run Bone Colossus instead is my advice. Glacial Dragon. It's a very good effect for the Dragon deck. It's sadly just expensive and not really the stat line you want to see on a Dragon. Dragons should normally have decent stats. I really don't know why Glacial Dragon was legendary. Should have just been epic and it would have been fine. I think a lot of the problem with Dragon decks was the fact that they made like all the decent dragons or unnecessary dragons legendary, which was a really dumb design choice, if you ask me. That's just me though. Bringer of Nightmares, a card I don't think is bad. It's just not as good as it used to be. For those of you who weren't around when Heroes of Skyrim launched, Bringer of Nightmares was originally a 6 cost and was causing fucking havoc by making mid-range Sorcerer like the best deck ever. Which, as someone who loves mid-range Sorcerer, that wasn't a bad thing for me. But yeah, it's now 7 mana. It's now just a bit too slow, really, to see mass play. It's still fine in certain mid-range decks and in control decks. It's a polymorph effect, so it's a way of removing a creature without putting it into the graveyard, or like it's a pseudo banish, basically. Yeah, it's an overall okay card. Genius Path Mage is still a great card. It just doesn't see play because Nixox combo no longer exists. Path Mage is just one of those cards that is always on the verge of being broken, or like always has the possibility of breaking something if something is found for it. Sadly, it can be very difficult with it being pushed from 6 to 7 cost to find a gap for it to tutor up something important. It's good in Unite the Houses just for pulling up Balgruuf and a few other things, but overall it doesn't really fit into that many decks. It's a very combo-y card. Is what I'm trying to get at. You wouldn't play it unless you had a specific use for it. And last but not least, we've got Supreme Atromancer, one of my personal favorite cards. It's a card I really wish they'd unnerf. So it's a 10 mana 3/3 that summons 2 Atronachs, 2 5/3 Flame Atronachs, and every time a creature enters the battlefield, like every time you have a creature enter the battlefield, it pings your opponent for 2. Supreme Atromancer doesn't really see play since it hit 10 mana, but as I have proved, I think, with the Merrick Battle Mage video I did a couple months back, it is still one of the strongest closing cards for blue. Merrick Battle Mage is actually still one of my most powerful ladder decks. I still play it quite a bit. Usually if I'm having trouble hitting Legend in the season, I'll just start playing Merrick Battle Mage and just get there, of course, like a day or two. But yeah, Atromancer is still a solid card. If you're playing Merrick Battle Mage, it's 100% necessary. You can't play that deck without it. Just as a blue closer, it's fine. It's not as powerful as it used to be on 9. Turn 10 is a long way away. Turn 10 is a lot. It's a lot more impactful than you'd think, the 1 mana change, but it's still fine. And lastly, we're on to the bad cards, and yeah, a lot of these should be very self-explanatory. So, we've got Emmerich's Warlord, Jizargo, Shoalshred, yes, Soulshred. Fucking words, man. Echo Vakatosh, Staff of Sparks, Hannibal Traven, Indral Archmage, Nokrin, Dragon Priest, and Deveth Fear. Mainly, Emmerich's Warlord just mobilized, never really became a thing, so the card sucks. Jizargo, too random. Soul Shred is too hard to make work. Echo Vakatosh is just bad. Staff of Sparks, also just terrible. Hannibal Traven, too slow, very difficult to get to work. Normally he gets removed before you can get like anything going with him. Indral Archmage tends to be quite low impact. There's a lot of silence, a lot of hard removal floating around, so normally it doesn't get the value you'd want. Nahakrin, when it used to reduce... Old Nahakrin was great, new Nahakrin sucks. For those of you who weren't around back when Nahakrin was unnerfed, he used to draw you a card, and then the next card you played that turn would cost 0. Now it just draws your card, and that card costs 0, so it's too high variance. Before you used to be able to get some really busted combo stuff done. But now it's terrible. And finally, Deveth Fear, one of my favorite cards, is just sadly really inconsistent and really slow. That's the main issue with that card. So yeah, that is the blue and red legendaries. Hopefully this video isn't like an hour long. It shouldn't be, because I'm going to be doing a fuck ton of editing to make this video like as short as possible. And as easy for you guys to kind of sit through as I can. If you guys want to see the rest of these gone through, let me know in the comments. I'm basically testing to see if you guys want to see this kind of content for the time being. This won't be interfering with my deck text or anything like that. This is just supplementary content while I'm not really doing anything. I'm already working on this week's video anyway. So yeah. Let me know if you want to do this for the rest of the colors and for the like duals and neutrals. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.